Yo, what is up guys, it's the Goblin, and today I'm back with some more Call of Duty Black Ops 3 news, and I have some more leaks about what is going to be coming in the future of supply drops in Black Ops 3, and I talked yesterday about some of the possible melee weapons that will be coming into Black Ops 3 in the future from a credible source, but in today's video I have something covering more about different things, not just weapons, some stuff that we've never seen in Call of Duty before that most likely is going to be coming into Black Ops 3 in the supply drop system, which I'll be talking about in this video here. So if you guys could all support me on this thing, drop a like on this video, I would much appreciate that if we could get 2,000 likes. Also, if you guys are new to my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into the commentary. So basically, this was posted on Reddit about a month ago, back when Call of Duty Black Ops 3 put in the MX Garand, they put in the Shadow Claw, the Marshall 16. This was the first source of, weapons, things that weren't just cosmetic into Black Ops 3, and this was the first time that there was an uproar about supply drops. As you guys know, lately now they've dropped the second batch of guns, which was the HG40 and the sniper and stuff like that, and there's been more of an uproar. But this article was, or not article, this Reddit post was posted about a month ago, basically when that first drop came out with the MX Garand. And this guy says he's some sort of insider with Treyarch, his friend works there, or he works there, something like that, and he can't really say in the article, but he says he knows stuff about the future of Call of Duty and the future of supply drops coming into Black Ops 3. And of course, why is this guy credible? How do we know this isn't just some little kid who made this up and put it on the internet? Basically because this guy said they're working on the MP40, the finished MP40 will come out, and then boom, the next supply drops, the MP40 does get dropped. Technically the HG40, but it is the MP40, which basically gives this guy some credibility, along with a lot of the stuff he says here. He really does have some good reasons to why it is true and why these things will come true. So we'll be talking about that in today's video. So basically, I'll read out what he said here about the future of supply drops and what he's going into. At the first bit of the article, what this guy talks about is basically, he talks about how Activision was the one that basically forced Treyarch to put these supply drops into the game, and that people really didn't want the supply drops in. David Vonderhaar, other people that work at Treyarch didn't want the supply drops, but because of how well it did with Advanced Warfare, they're basically, Activision is putting the pressure on them, putting the heat on the people at Treyarch to put the supply drops in the game. And if you think about this, this does make sense, because people at Treyarch, David Vonderhaar, all those people that work there are the ones that are taking the heat. People are attacking them, when in reality, it doesn't matter if their game makes $1 billion or $500 million. Really, they're most likely going to make the same. They might have a little bonus or something like that, but in reality, they're the ones that at the studio, at Treyarch, and at Infinity Ward, and at Sledgehammer want to make the game good, and it's Activision who's coming in trying to make the money off that. So let's read what this guy has to say about the future of supply drops. Remember, this was written when the first MX Garand came out. He says, as you can imagine, the earnings on COD points blew up in the past week. The plan worked. I imagine Treyarch will attempt to find ways to help the players receive these items, as they do care about the player base. I've heard mentions of wager matches returning for crypto keys, but COD points cannot be wagered for gambling lawsuit concerns. Basically saying that they would love to do, at Treyarch, the studio, would love to do some sort of wager matches, cage matches for COD points. However, they can't do that because of gambling lawsuits, and of course a lot of people that play the Call of Duty games are not of age to gamble or live in places where you're not able to gamble and stuff like that. So technically that does make sense. Now he says, what is coming in supply drops? More weapons. I imagine the completely finished MP40 will come out someday, which turned out to be true. The MP40 came out in the next supply drops, which he was talking about here. Next, he says, this is where we get into the juicy info. New specialists. They are only planning 2 right now. Maybe even just the one that is finished if they decide they'd rather not make any more. The plan to allow the specialists to be purchased separately as well. They do want this for the weapons as well, but there's no chance that it will get approved. So basically they're saying that it's basically a fight between Treyarch and Activision. Treyarch is caring for the player base. They want us to be able to purchase the specialists, to be able to purchase the guns, because it's so unfair if they put this new specialist guy just in supply drops. Imagine that. The chances of getting him would be so low, and that's why hopefully they get this approved, and when it comes out, they'll be able to buy the specialist straight up, or you'll be able to buy the weapons. They're basically, this guy says that they're planning 2. They have 1 finished, which would make sense because, as you guys know, back when the Awakening DLC came out, basically the Awakening DLC had a hint towards a new specialist, like a blackjack sort of thief guy. Looks like that is the one that they have finished, and that's the one that we're going to be getting. And speaking of the Awakening DLC, I actually have some news for you guys as well watching this. This weekend, we have double weapon XP and double XP on zombies and multiplayer for Call of Duty Black Ops 3, as well as free DLC weekend. Now, this is something that my buddies have been talking about this for a while, because as you guys know, in Black Ops 3, the DLC system is done a bit different. everyone has the DLC already on their console. You have to download it with the update when the new guns come out, all that stuff. The DLC is included in there. So they're making the DLC free for this weekend from Friday to Monday on PlayStation only. I guess because PlayStation has the rights to them, they are in the contract. Unfortunately, you Xbox One users won't be able to have this, or PC people. But if you guys are on the PlayStation 4 and you haven't purchased the Awakening DLC, this is a great way to try it out. And I'm not sure how exactly this is going to work. I'm not sure if it's just going to be one playlist, it's going to be free DLC for everyone, or if they're just going to throw the DLC maps into everything. I think this could work out pretty good if it was just for the weekend. I'm probably going to play a lot this weekend because getting noobs on the DLC map is always a dream come true. And especially, you know, Ground War is really good with these splash maps as well as the Rise map. And I think this will work out pretty cool with the Free Awakening DLC weekend. I'll probably, you know, be playing that, maybe live streaming it, stuff like that for you guys. But yeah, let's get back into this. New specialists, they're planning the 2 right now. One's coming out. Now, this is the next info that's really important here. Weapon skins. A Kuda with an MP5 skin. Imagine that. This is what I've been talking about since day one. This is how you make the supply drops worth buying, as well as making, you know, it's cosmetic only, but it's so sexy. A Kuda with an MP5 skin, a KN-44 with an AK-47 skin. The plan was to have these as variants accessible through the gunsmith system, but with the success of COD points, don't be shocked when they inevitably become separate weapons entirely. Exactly. That's what this guy is saying as well. Basically, the COD points and the supply drops are making them so much money that the idea was to make these the skins, you know, weapon skins, a Kuda as an MP5 skin. This would be perfect. If you don't get it, there's no harm to you. If you do get it, however, it just makes your game look cooler, and this is similar to what League of Legends does with these skins. I think that this would be a great way to do these things, because right now they do have basically skins for the attachments, like a rapid fire, different skin for the rapid fire, for the long barrel. That stuff is barely visible, and it's not really cool. These weapon skins would be very good, but like this guy says in the article, don't be surprised if they just release the AK-47 or the MP5 into the supply drops because of how much money they're making. Hopefully, you know, they're taking some of this community backlash or whatever, community feedback, and listening, because we do know, like, a lot of people say, you know, the companies don't listen to the fan base. They do. Treyarch and Infinity Ward, they try to listen, I believe. It's hard because Activision is the one funding their project, all that sort of stuff. It's a dual effort, and you need to have make the player base happy, make the money for them, as much money as possible, and you know, it's hard for them to do that. But definitely hope that this weapon skins is definitely going to be a thing. Then he says HUD skins, calling cards, camos, emblem textures, announcer packs, and more are all on the table. So basically, this is saying all this stuff we've already had. However, announcer packs and supply drops, that would be pretty sweet. If we remember back to Call of Duty Ghost, we had the Snoop Dogg announcer as well as the Drill Sergeant come into DLC for like $2 or $3. I bought the Snoop Dogg one. It was really cool. He would say guard deal double G inbound every time you go to guard dog. I think that these would be pretty cool. It's announcer packs. However, it seems like they have a lot of cool things planned, but the problem is that Activision wants them all to be in supply drops when the fans don't really want them into the supply drops. And he says right here, more content behind a microtransaction paywall is likely to come, and that's basically all we have for the article. So this is basically saying that yes, we are going to be getting the new specialist some way or another. Everyone's just basically been assuming that we're going to get the new specialist with no, you know, sort of info behind it, but this gives us a pretty credible source here, as well as these weapon skins could be a thing. However, like he said, like I'm agreeing with him and saying as well, don't be surprised if they just end up releasing these guns how they are. I think personally that the weapon skins is a great way to do these supply drops and to make so much money from these things. Imagine if you could turn your Weevil into like a P90 looking from MW3, or turn this gun into that gun just for your own visual in the game. Maybe the enemies can see it when they pick it up as well, but I think that's definitely a way to do it. Don't change any of the statistics on the gun, man. Don't, like the HG40 has different statistics from the Kuda. However, you could have just done an MP40 skin for the Kuda, and you could put on your skins, and just the game could be so much more customizable. This would be kind of weird and new to Call of Duty, but I think it's definitely the way to go here, because the way they're going right now with these weapons that give you an advantage, the pay to win sort of thing, is kind of unfair. If you're already paying $60 for the game, you shouldn't have to pay for guns, you know what I'm saying? But these weapon skins are something that would be completely optional. No biggie if you don't have them. If you do have them, it's completely cosmetic. It's not like your MP5 does more damage than my Kuda. They basically are the exact same. Maybe you could even make iron sight variants or variants of the sounds that the gun makes when it shoots. There's so much up on the table here for Treyarch, and I'm excited to see what happens with this Call of Duty as well as the next Call of Duty with this microtransaction and DLC info. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys did make it to the end of the video, comment skins down in the comment section down below. Also, be sure to drop a like on this thing. I'd really appreciate if you guys could all like this thing and get 2,000 likes. That would be awesome. I thought this video was pretty informative and something that you guys would really enjoy. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, drop a like, subscribe for a cookie, and don't looky. Have a great night, and I'm out. Peace.